Now I look around this room, I don't see any kind of super young people. So that means that you have experience, you've gone to school, you've done something with your life. And I personally think YouTube and other content platforms need your voice in that mix.
So Chris Do just gets it. So in this episode, I'm gonna share with you the top 3 lessons that I learned from Chris Do that has helped me a lot when it comes to pricing my projects and when it comes to negotiating with the prospect and turning them into a high-paying client. So in this episode, that's what we're gonna talk about. Coming up. So welcome back. So in this episode, I'm gonna share with you the top 3 lessons that helped me a lot when it comes to pricing my project and when it comes to negotiating with prospect. And Chris Do he just nailed it. So I came across his channel a couple months ago, I think like mid-summer or middle of fall. And I was really digging into his content because I just saw a gem in his content. Since like he is coming from a creative side of business, his approach is really kind of intriguing and it sounds interesting to me, and how to tell the clients the creatives that we do and we deliver to the clients. So in his case, he is designing some logos, but how can he charge more? And I saw one of his video, he just said that he charged 18,000 just for a single logo. And how can he do that? So I was kind of intrigued in that content, so I keep digging when he produced a brand new content. Thank you, Chris, for doing everything. So in this episode, I'm going to share with you the top 3 lessons that I learned from Chris Do. So lesson number 1 is using this anchoring technique. Now, anchoring technique is simple as giving the prospect the range of prices that you usually charge. And that anchoring technique is just simply, literally, it's an anchor that once you drop that anchor, the client will keep thinking about that thing that you just dropped. So for example, you charge 5,000 for a project that you do. Okay, so let's just say for example that 5,000 is what you charge for a project. Now, when the prospect asks you, so how much do you charge? Then you will respond, instead of saying 5,000 for this kind of project, what if you drop an anchor, which is like, instead of saying 5,000, you will say, for this kind of project, we normally charge 20 to 30,000. And that depends of the complexity of the project. And that also depends how many crews we need in order for us to produce that kind of project. And let's say it is a video production, right? So at that moment, you just drop the anchor. And then when you are still in conversation with a prospect, that price range or that anchor will still keep running behind their head, and they're constantly thinking about that price. And even though it's out of their budget, but since you are asking great questions, I mean just the right questions, why they need what they need. So in that case, you just drop an anchor. And then when you say, and let's say at the end of the conversation, you will say like, it seems to me that you are the client that I want to work with. I am comfortable talking to you, and I can see that this project can really help your business to go to the next level. So I want to start working on this project, and how does 5,000 sounds to you? So when you just drop that anchor, now they're thinking of the higher price, and they know that the worth of what you can deliver on the table is worth more than 20,000, 30,000. But when the time that you reveal your price, which is the 5,000, it will become a no-brainer for them, because it's just a lowball, it's just like a discounted price, it's just a bargain. So that's why when you are talking to your prospect and they will insist of asking how much will they cost them for you to work on that kind of project, and then drop that anchor so that they will keep thinking about that, and so that when you reveal your price, it will become a no-brainer for your client and they will just get started. Of course, it will not be 100%, but there are higher percentage that they will take that offer, since it is a very low price, it is a bargain for them. So that's number 1 lesson that I learned from Chris Do. So the second lesson that I learned from this guy, which is like so fascinating, is that never justify your price. Now let's just say for example, and I will just give you a hint, because when the client asks you why it is so expensive, that means in the middle or maybe at the start of your conversation, or maybe in the middle or almost getting to the end, you didn't really hit the target. You didn't really hit the ballpark. So when the client asks you, so why is this expensive? What am I getting if I will pay this amount of price? So when the client asks you that question, you don't need to justify your price. You will not say like, because we have this 20 years of experience doing this kind of project, or we've been working with these brands for how many long, these great brands, and we have this 20 or 200 years collective experience, that's why we can charge this much. Although that can help, but you don't need to justify your price. So whether they like it or not, whether they take it or they'll leave it, then it's up to them. Okay, you don't need to convince the client to buy your product or to get your service, because when you convince someone, you will sound like desperate. So when they say like it's expensive and I don't think we can afford it, then just acknowledge it and then just move on. So you don't need to justify your price, and don't ever justify your price, because you will start defending why your price is that much, why you're so expensive, or why you are cheap. Okay, so that's the number 2 lessons that I learned from Chris though. The number 3 lesson that I learned is that if you have a talent, if you have a skill, you need to market your skill or your talent. Because as what Chris has said in one of his videos, if you are the artist or if you have talent, and if you don't market that talent, it will become a talented secret. And no one will know that you are talented. So let's just say you're making videos. Unless you post it on social media or on YouTube or any other social media platforms, no one will know that you're making videos. Because I've done that. I've been there. I've shot a lot of videos and never published it, never edited it, and it's still in my hard drive. So no one will know until you promote your own skill or talent. So that's why it is very important, especially if you're running a business, especially if you're running an agency, or especially if you are a leader who runs something and you want to reach more people. And since we are in the generation that we can reach globally, it's not just locally, but we have the ability to reach globally, and we can have more audiences and we can impact more lives. And that is, to put out more content that is valuable to the audience that you wanna attract. And just say, for example, if you are a designer, if you are an artist, if you can draw, if you are offering a logo design for other businesses, then you can create or start creating video content, because this is what the standard right now. If you produce more video content to your social media platform, the more you will be visible to the prospect. Because ask yourself, how can a prospect or how can a future client find you if you don't put out content on social media? Even though if you have a website, you know that it's tough to have an optimized website. You know that you will compete other websites that is very, very good, that is very high ranked on Google SEO. But if you can produce content through video and post it on YouTube, and you will have more edge to become visible to your prospect. Because think about it, YouTube is the second large search engine in the entire world. So Google's first, which is more, can be websites, and then second one is YouTube. So if you can produce more content through a video form, then pretty much you will be more visible to your prospects. So think about it and ask yourself, how can the client find you easily? Even though you are running your business through referral program, but what if you could be visible? You will be easier to reach, you will be easier to find on the internet. So that's gonna be more client to come. So think about it. Think about producing more content that is valuable to your prospect, so that the prospect can find you easily, and that's the form of video. So those are the top 3 lessons that I learned from Chris though. And this guy is amazing, and you should go and follow and dig all his content, and he has more to go. And I'm always keeping an eye on his YouTube channel because his content is just something. So I hope you learned something in this episode, and if you do, come along and have a joyride, because we are in this journey to be putting out content, and I hope you learned something from this. And if you are interested to start producing video content for your business or could be your personal brand, then I believe that I have some grateful insights for you so that you can start producing video content whether for your business or for your personal brand. So I hope you learned something in this episode, and if you do, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give me a like or dislike if you don't like this video, so that it will let me know that I'm creating the right content for you. So I hope you learned something, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao for now.